How to forgive your enemy. I hear a yes please there from the back. Well, there are different ways to do it. Not all of them really that successful. The first thing you can do is turn the other cheek. But I run out of cheeks. It doesn't work for me. There's also the golden rule that says, do unto others what you would like to have done unto yourself. I don't like to be slapped around. And I don't forgive easily when that's the case. Second version, forgive, but never forget. At least then it's off your conscience and you know you've done your bit, you're okay, you're forgiven, but trust me, you will never forget. The first commandment in the Bible, the very first one, before you get to the 10 commandments, says, you will not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So if you forgive, but you don't forget, I hear a lot of judgment in there. I'm better than you, and I will forgive you, but believe me, I've judged you, and I'm not going to forget. So that doesn't work. When it comes to having to forgive anything, it's about you having done something to me. And see how amazingly God designed us. There's one finger pointing that way. There are 3 fingers pointing back. So the work is not with you, the work is with me. And that's a tall order when you know that you're on the receiving end here. You're on the receiving end of some really nasty stuff. Over many years and with many experiences, not just with myself, but with other people that I've helped, and with a lot of research, I figured out a much better way that actually works for me. It's the quantum version. What it means is that it is possible to forgive and to move on. And it's a fascinating process. So, when do you need to forgive? You need to forgive when somebody has done something bad to you. And you know, when you talk about forgiveness, people immediately think about love relationships. It's a lot more than that. Yes, there is a lot of forgiveness required for love relationships. Somebody in this room has been cheated. Somebody in this room has been abandoned. There are so many things. Somebody in this room might have been abused in a love relationship. There are so many things that people do to us, and yet they say they love us. And then we need to get over it and we need to forgive them. You know, when I talk about love relationship, I'm always reminded of Elizabeth Taylor, who got married 8 times. She just didn't get the point. And she just kept trying and trying. I wonder how many times she's going to be married in her next incarnation. But forgiveness is not just about love relationships, it's also about work. Redundancy. I've been made redundant 3 times. And I was good in my, what shall I call it, my corporate career. I was very good at what I did. I was, for most of my early career, I would go for an interview, get the job, because I had the skills, the knowledge, the qualifications, the experience, you name it. Then I was made redundant for, I think the 3rd time it was, I can't remember, I stopped counting. And I went for interviews, 47 interviews, 47, still nothing. I had to forgive the people who got me into this position. But here's the wonderful thing. During that time of unemployment, of being a single parent, of having all those expenses, of refusing to look to my family for help, during that time, I earned more money from doing whatever came my way than I did when I had a job. Somebody was looking after me. But still, I need to get over the point that I was made redundant. Bullying in the workplace. How do you continue there? How do you keep working when you get bullied? And when you wake up in the morning and you think, I don't even want to go to work. Or somebody stole my business. I built up a business And when it becomes successful, somebody stole it. That happened to a friend of mine. Oh, even worse than love relationships, forgiving family. How many of you will believe me when I say to you, don't lend money to a family member? And how many of you will believe me with that because you learned, you did it, and you're still waiting for that money to come back to you? Family loyalty. People turning their back on you because they are family. As I'm standing here, I'm one of four siblings. I have no contact with 3 of them because I couldn't care less about what I do. That requires a hell of a lot of forgiveness. And those 3 fingers, they point back to me. It's up to me to deal with it. Family, just not caring about each other, getting estranged. If you have been in your own business, you've lost money from people who have the scruples of street cats. You've had to deal with people who have no integrity, who expect to get from you, but they don't give anything in return. So that really is a very bleak picture, because it's happened to all of us in some or other way. I've just given some examples. So why do these bad things happen to us? We're all good people. One thing I've learned is that it's not for us to label these experiences as bad. They are experiences. They are challenges. Yes, we do react emotionally to them. That's where the good and the bad come in. That's where we go back and we eat from that tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So it's not about us labeling these experiences as good or bad. They are experiences. That's not the point. It's not whether they're good or bad. It is what is the soul contract behind these experiences. Again, I learned this from personal experiences, and also from a lot of reading, a lot of doing readings for my clients, that every single one of us have got soul contracts with every person we ever encounter in this incarnation. I've got a soul contract with every single one of you. And thank goodness I don't need to forgive every one of you. Or any of you, for that matter. But what happens is, this is how I understand it. And help me, if you've been on the other side and you know more than I do, please help me. But the way I understand it is that before we even get born, we sit around the table with every single soul that is going to incarnate with us and that will have some sort of contact with us. We go into a contract with every single one of them. Then we get born and it gets wiped out of our consciousness because we then need to get on with living. So you've had a soul contract with your spouse, with your father, with your mother, with every sibling you have, with every friend you've ever had who turned their back on you and walked away from you, with every friend that you have right now. Some of these soul contracts are like minutes long. Others are decades long. Others are from cradle to grave. So you have these soul contracts with people. There's a reason why you have this soul contract. It's part of what they need to help you learn all by yourself. Remember the 3 fingers pointing back? You have to learn all by yourself what it is that you need to understand from this interaction with them. And if you don't learn the lesson, the pattern repeats. It's like this, when they sit around that table and they plan your incarnation, and you're part of the meeting. They say, well, you're going to have a relationship with this person. I'm not so sure you're going to get it. So when you walk away in a huff from that one will stand ready to receive you with open arms. Different face, different name, same experience, until you learn. And that is, again, whether it is a love relationship or a work relationship or a family, whatever it is, if there's interaction, it's been planned. So you have these repeating patterns that happen until you get it. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get it in this life necessarily, but nothing prevents you from trying, from doing your best to get the wisdom during this incarnation. So what happens when you don't forgive? It's unbelievable how many people I deal with every day who have got this lack of forgiveness stuck in their muscles. It's stuck in their body. Your muscles remember what happens to you. They keep that memory until you resolve the memory. And here the English language, for me, is, I'm bilingual, but I've got also a bit of experience of French, of German, and of some of the Nordic languages. But the English language is absolutely the best. The English language will tell you, I'm not forgiving, and it's eating away at me. I'm peed off about it. I cannot stomach this situation or this person. I really need to vent my spleen. This is killing me. And I can go on. The English language is beautiful at explaining to us what is happening with our bodies when we do not forgive. Now, I don't need to tell you that your physical body is a reflection of your spiritual body. So if you've got aches and pains and stuff, maybe you need a little bit of forgiveness in the background. It's not just the aches and pains, not just the physical stuff, but it's also your emotional body suffers from that. You know you can be in a conversation and it's all, kosher and it's all lovey-dovey and so on, and then somebody says something about the person who did this to you, and they press that button, and there's the emotional explosion again. It might be 20 years later. It might be 30 years later. You know about family feuds. You know about countries fighting against each other. They don't even know each other. They read about other people and other countries in the newspaper, but the fight continues because it's in our muscles. I remember many years ago, probably easily 15 years ago, I was attending an event in England, and that's how big an impact this made on me. I was giving a reading to a lady. Now, those of you who've had readings from me, I don't question you to death. I give you what I get. When I started the reading for this lady, I said to her, you need to let go. You need to embrace your son. I didn't even know she had a son. Believe me, that was the end of what I had to say. Because she actually got up and I thought, whoa, wow. And she said, I will never, as long as I live, forgive him for not giving me grandchildren. Never. The anger, it was like she was exploding in my face. I did not know that she had a son. I did not know that he was gay. I did not know that it was her only child. She gave me that full on, and even today I think, when I say this, I want to just sit back and say, it's okay, it's okay. If you don't forgive, you know about deathbed confessions. You know about all that drama that goes around that, when a person really should just be able to leave their body in peace, not in pieces. We all grew up in this beautiful country of ours, where we got manipulated up to the hilt, where we suffered a 60-year dictatorship and we're now into a 30-year dictatorship. There's a lot of forgiveness that needs to happen there every single day. Now, if you need to forgive anybody, there's a strong emotion that is stuck, like I said, in your muscles, in your psyche. And these emotions rule our lives. Now, we'll get to feelings, which is completely a different thing. So I'll just mention right now, emotions and feelings are two completely different things. Completely different. As far as I can remember, there are something like 3,000 words in the English language that describe emotions. So you can take your pick. Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you resentful? Are you full of hate? Are you whatever? All of those emotions are there. And if I ask you right now to think about the person that you most need to forgive, and you just tune into yourself just for a second, and you identify that emotion, see what happens with your body. Your body knows immediately, oh, she's angry. I now need to pull my face in this way. I need to raise my voice in this way. I need to have my muscles in this condition. Oh, no, she's sad. Okay, different muscles in the face, different muscles in the body. Your body knows how to respond to that clue. And if you don't resolve that, if you don't get to the point of forgiveness, your body gets stuck in that, and you become my client. So, how do you forgive? It's hard work. And I'm not going to fool you. I'm not going to say to you it happens within seconds. Sometimes it can. But it's a long job and it's a hard job. And the three fingers point back to you. And for me, it often requires a sheet of paper. And sometimes that sheet of paper I carry with me for a long time. And I'm at the point where I don't feel guilty if I've had that sheet of paper with me for 5-6 years. Because I know as long as that sheet of paper is there, I am actually working on it. I'm not allowing it to rule my life. I'm working on it. So the first thing is, what you need to do is, okay, you think about the person. Now, outline the incident, exactly what happened there. Find the pattern. See if there's more than one. Did you go from one work relationship to another work relationship, same pattern, different face, different person? Business, do you get the same clients, but just different names? So what exactly happened, and how did you feel about that? Did you feel rejected? Did you experience fraud? Did you experience physical harm? I can go down the list, and I'm sure there are probably about 20 people in this room. We can get 60 feelings just like that, from each one incident for each of you. Here's the very important question. Who were you before this happened? Were you a very naive, stars in the eye, 18-year-old? Were you fresh out of university, getting into your first job with high hopes? Were you a small child who actually believed that your parents loved you and would always care for you? Who were you before this happened? Go back to that moment before that thing happened to you. And here's the beautiful question. How has all of this, everything that's happened with this person, changed you into the person you are now? And don't give me a poor me answer. Life is too short for that. Give me the answer that says, how did this person, this experience with this teacher, turn me into a better, stronger, wiser person? What did I learn about myself? What is it that I learned out of this? How did I change from that starry-eyed person that were there before the incident to the mature, wise person that I am today? What is it that I learned from it? And you know what? Nobody can tell you what it is that you needed to learn from it. It's your experience. So just some examples. What is the personal wisdom that you needed from it? Was it that you actually need to set boundaries? You are not there to be used and abused by anybody. You need to say, this is what is acceptable, that's not acceptable. I'm drawing the line in the sand. Did you need to learn about self-respect? Did you need to learn how to respect yourself? Did you need to learn, for example, how important integrity is to you? Don't tell me you never walked out of a store knowing that you got 10 cents too much change and you don't, and you every time went back because you're a good person. No, you pocketed it, it's just 10 cents. Is that integrity? Did you need to learn about respect for yourself and for others? Did you need to learn any other values that are important to you, that have now become important to you, that you never thought of before? So you need to ask the question, why me? But not poor me, why me? It's more, why me? I'm tickled about this. I want to understand. I need to figure this out. It's important for my physical body, it's important for my emotional body, and it's important for my spiritual body. Then, this is the last step, and then that is how you will know that you actually did fully forgive this person. Convey your gratitude to your teacher. Do you know how difficult that is? I'll give you 2 examples. Firstly, I walked out of a marriage after facing the wrong end of a firearm. And that was just the final event. That was not the only one. That was the final one. For 15 years after that, I got nightmares. You know those nightmares when you wake up and you're breathless and you feel like you have to defend yourself. I got that for 15 years. I needed to forgive. I needed to face that. And that is really the important thing about forgiveness. You need to face it. You need to face it, not anybody else. You can't delegate it. You know how I faced that? At the time I was in England, I actually picked up the phone. I called my ex-husband. It was the first time in probably something like 23 years that we actually spoke, because he refused to have any contact with me, which was fine with me. I mean, he was featuring in my nightmares way too often. I picked up the phone, I spoke to him. You know what I got? A sad, pathetic old man. Not the monster from my dreams, but a sad, pathetic old man. And I thought by myself, you know what? Life is too short. Let me just let go. If the one thing that phone call taught me was to face my own demons. Because if you don't face them, they come at night. I'll give you another one. My mother was 18 when I was born. She was 17 when she got married. From really bad situation at home. My father came on his white horse, got her away from that. She was ready for the high life. And then she got pregnant. She blamed me for that from the moment that she conceived me. I couldn't understand it. I mean, when I was a small child, she loved my brothers. She loved my sister. She couldn't stand me. And people were saying to me, no, it's just your imagination. No, there's no that. Few things that told me that it wasn't just my imagination. The one was that after she died, she named her 3 children in her will. Not her 4 children, her 3 children. I wasn't there, I didn't exist. Before she died, she was in and out of mental institutions and rehabilitation centers. Every single time. When I got the message that she's into one of these again, I waited. And eventually the phone rang. A social worker, a psychologist, asking me when I am going to stop treating my mother like I did. And there I was thinking, not that pitiful why me, just trying to understand. I mean, why me? What is so different about me? What is so special about me? And it turned out she was not only the person that I got my gift from, she was also the first person I met in spirit. And I can tell you this, it scared the living hell out of me. Because thinking about the relationship we had, or the non-relationship we had, there I was alone at home and she was here right next to in the room to me. I expected to die that night. And on the contrary, I didn't. Here I am today, doing what I'm passionate about. Sometimes you can get away, and of course, this is important. All of these took years. So if you've been struggling with something for a few years, don't give up. Just keep going, keep going. One of the ways to keep going is to write a letter to that person who did that to you. Write that letter and take your time. Or write an email. Nowadays an email is better. Please, 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 don't put their email address in there yet. Don't. Rather, write it on a Word document or wherever that they cannot get access. Don't send it yet. Don't. If it takes you weeks, write there. Write every single incident. This is what happened. This is what you did. This is how I felt about it. And continue with that until every part of it is out of your body and onto that sheet of paper or onto that electronic document. Then you decide what to do with that. You can send the email, you can post the letter, you can deliver the letter, you can shred it, you can burn it, but get rid of it. Get it out of your life. It works. I've tried that several times and I've done it with many clients. It works. But it takes guts because you have to face yourself. Because in the process, you actually discover it takes two to tango. Yes, they did weird and dreadful things to you, but you were part of the equation. And there was a reason for that. You agreed to that contract. Every single one of these people that you need to forgive are a teacher to you. And they might not be aware that they are teaching you. I mean, go and tell your mother who's suffering from dementia, who's making your life hell, that you are thankful for what she taught you. She might not even recognize you. So that's why it's not about you, it's about me. And the longer you do this forgiveness process, the more you see how you grow. It is no longer what you or what they did to me. You move a step up. You're asking, what is it that I allowed and what is the wisdom that I needed to get? And then you get to a point where you move another step up and say, why is it that God made me part of this? What is it that made me this incredibly beautiful child of God? Then you know you're on the right track. So if you do live with this person that you need to forgive, for example, if it's an elderly person that you need to take care of, you can't just walk away. You can still go through this process. I'll tell you now why. If you are married to this person, you can't just walk away immediately and say, I'm off, I'm going. You need to go through the process. You need to get to that point of gratitude. Then your mind is clear, your emotions are clear. Then you can decide what the next step is to take. If you're in a really bad marriage, is this a turning point where it's going to turn into a really good one? Or is this the turning point where I say, I trust and I walk away? If you're dealing with somebody that you cannot walk away from, like you're in a work situation, your job is really important to you, but you get bullied. You've done your forgiveness, you understand that. Guess what happens? The bully backs off. The parent calms down. Somehow, on some level, they understand. Okay, job done, contract fulfilled. Now we can just be human. And now we can just coexist. None of that nonsense anymore. And that's a beautiful place to be. So what happens? This is the beautiful thing of this quantum solution. What happens when you actually do forgive a person? The result is a feeling as opposed to an emotion. Now, what is a feeling? Think about the first time somebody kissed you, your first lover's kiss. Can you remember how you felt at that time? Can you remember how you felt when you held your child in your arms for the first time? Can you remember how you felt when you got that promotion that you worked so hard for? You can try, but your muscles forgot about that because your muscles didn't need to store all of that poison. With a feeling, we're talking about, walking on cloud 9. And it can last for a few minutes, few days. It could last for your entire honeymoon. It could last for your first 5 years at the company. Whatever. It lasts. And you know, this is different. This is different. I feel it in my bones. I'm relieved. I'm good. I'm okay. In that moment, when you experience that feeling, when you get that wisdom, a quantum of light is formed in every cell of your body. You know, when you say to somebody, you look radiant, and they say, well, they might just say, look, I've put this behind me, that's why. That's what happened. A quantum of light formed in every cell of their body. When that happens, when that quantum of light is formed, your body vibration goes up permanently, which means you are a soul at a higher vibration. And from that moment on, you attract souls at your same vibration. So you're not going to have the same relationship with another person with a different face, different name. You're going to have that beautiful relationship that you want. You're going to get the opportunity to work in the most incredible work situation, because that is your new vibration. There's no more buttons to press. Another thing that happens, that I've also seen many times, is that I like to call it the domino effect. You do this forgiveness, that door opens for you, that person comes back to you, that person enters into your life, that opportunity comes to you. It's amazing. I'm trying to put a miracle into words here, but it is really amazing what happens. Make a list of your perpetrators today. Start forgiving today. Don't postpone it. Don't delay. Don't procrastinate. Start today.